Hello viewers, today we are going to be cleaning and servicing a Honeywell air filter. This is a model 50100, and be advised that this is not the standard change the filter procedure. This is going to be a complete teardown with lubrication of the motor and cleaning of every single component on the machine, which is not something I would normally do unless it changed hands, which is what transpired with this one. So I believe the access will be granted from the bottom. I remove the filter and do reveal some screws under here. And this is the first time I've ever serviced one of these to this extent, so I am largely guessing as far as what's going to happen here. Now, I'm going to replace the filter on my own machines. I use these filters for years and years and years, and when they get dirty like this one, I often take them outside and blow them out with compressed air and put them back in the machine. And while it probably never works quite as well as it did when it was new, it works well enough for me. But because this filter is, who knows what the history is on it, and it is pretty dirty. You can see that's what the outside looks like, and that's what the inside looks like. It's probably getting towards the end of its useful life anyways, so I'm going to replace that. I will hold on to the little thing there to keep the pre-filter in place, but the rest of it I will replace. I've got a new filter here. I'm using a generic filter. By generic I mean generic fit, because I don't believe they make this specific model anymore. I think the model was I really don't have any recollection of what it was, but anyways, it was a model I couldn't find anywhere, so fortunately the generic one does fit. So looks like we have 4 screws in here. I will go ahead and remove those screws now. That has released this component, the guard here, and now there's 2 screws that keep this together. There's one right here, and there's another right here. Yeah, actually there's 4. Another one up at the top on both sides. With those screws removed, this should now split apart easily. And we can take the cord out. And we'll set these pieces aside. There's a little thing there. I'm going to take that off for now. And we can set all these pieces aside for cleaning. And now we're going to remove these 4 screws here. Okay, this should now, looks like this should come apart. Okay. Now I'd like to get this control panel apart as well. I don't see any screws. It may just kind of... Ah, there's screws. I guess I need to open my eyes and look a little more. I think they are too big, or too small rather, for that drill bit. Not sure if that really did anything. does not appear to have. I have suspicions this is not really made to come apart. Oh, there it's coming now. There we go. Okay, so this will come apart. That's good. So the control knob comes right out, and undo all these screws in here, and that should release the other things so we can clean those. Okay, that's pretty simple. So we can clean all that. It's quite dirty. Alright, now let's see here. How easily is this going to come out? Looks like this should definitely unclip from here, I think. And now it looks like this piece ought to do the same. If I can get a good angle here without breaking anything. Well, ideally without breaking anything, but I guess it's too late for that. Oh, this is being a nuisance. Two more clips over here. There we go. Clean this out now. So now the last thing to do is get the motor out and the fan out. It's actually a pretty substantial fan. Decent looking blade. Bearings are not that stiff, so I don't know why I was having so much trouble. It does have one of these stupid things on the top of it. What should be here is a nut or a bolt, you know, to kind of screw on there, but instead it has a planned obsolescence thing. So I'll just break that off as we usually do, and that's not going to be powerful enough. Whoa. Hopefully that was in the frame. Should zoom out a little bit. Okay, now this should come off of here. It's probably going to be stuck on there from years of use. And looks like some rust is starting to form too. Okay. This is going to be one of the more difficult parts of the process here. Try to tap it off a little bit. It is working, it's just going to take a long time. I don't think the puller is going to work because there's nowhere to really grab onto, but I'm going to try it because I don't like I don't like tapping stuff off like that. Very clean and controlled removal with a puller. Always the best way to do it if possible. Okay, so we'll clean this off. This is all plastic. And we'll take a look at the balance on that too afterwards. I don't think it's really bad enough to really be an issue, but we'll check it anyways. Looks like the motor will unscrew from the bottom here. 3 screws. There's nuts on the other side. Okay, the motor should be ready to come free. Unfortunately, it looks like with the way the cord is, it will not actually come out of this housing without disconnecting some of the wires. And one of these is really stuck in there. Okay, motor is free. And that is kind of annoying. Well, this isn't terribly dirty. I think I'll be able to clean it with it like this. Still no name to be found on the motor. Although the motor does appear to have oil ports. So it must be a halfway decent motor. Alright, well I'm going to get to cleaning everything and then I'll come back on the video and we'll service the motor. Alright, now we're going to get into servicing the motor. So we're going to remove the 3 screws around the outside edge. And why is this all wet? That's not going to work. It's wet because inherently the roll of ticket towels was sitting in a pool of water. Well, the whole roll is like this, so I'll just have to wait for that to dry, I guess. So the motor has one of these little things on there to keep the blade from going down too far. I'm going to remove that. Usually that just pulls right off. Okay, and with the dry side of the ticker towel, I'm going to wipe off any excess dirt that's on the shaft, and then I'm going to take some detergent oil. I'm going to put this on here. This is not the oil that's for fans. This is like a cleaning oil. And I'm going to clean the shaft with that. And I'm seeing something I don't like here. There is some rust and stuff on the end of the shaft. So what I'm going to do, this would have been ideally done with the motor's bolts still in place, but I think it's not going to come apart easily. So I'm going to power this up and we're going to sand down the end of the shaft there. Let's switch this into the on position. And low so it doesn't heat up as quickly. Okay, we're going to do it on high because that's turning too slowly. Still feeling it on there, so I'm going to get some stronger sandpaper. We have to go out a little bit harder. Okay, so that's looking good now. All that rust is gone, and this should just slide right off. Bearing should slide right over that with ease. And it's very important because on these sleeve bearing motors, the surface of the bearing contacts the shaft, and if you slide it over something that's rough, you could really ruin the bearings. So let's see if I can get this to come apart now. Starting to come, but it's pretty stiff. Okay, and it looks like the winding is trying to stay on the rear shell, but that needs to change because the connection is on the front shell, and so the stator needs to come off with the front shell. So there's not a lot of good ways to do this. At least not that I know of. There may be one, unbeknownst to me. It's really really jammed in there. Okay, it's coming now. There we go. So now this shaft ideally is going to slide right through here with ease. That is exactly what transpired. So, motor is looking pretty good. It's a nice quality motor. And the rear bearing is looks like it's pretty dry. And it does appear to be designed such that the shaft kind of sits on the bottom of it, perhaps. Or maybe not, I don't know, I can't really tell. But anyways, let's clean it. Although it's not that dirty, let's clean it anyways. Just going to take a towel here and put it in here and see if any dirt comes out. It may not. No, it's pretty clean. Okay. I'll do the same for the front bearing, though I suspect it also is relatively clean. Alright, so a couple drops of oil should get this running back to how it used to be. The fan oil here, for fans, it says it right there on the box, yet people still argue that this is not the best oil, or the right kind of oil. Put a couple drops in here. Actually, let's do a comparison here. That's what it spins like prior. I'll put a lot of drops in there, might as well. It's not going to leak out. This is what it spins like afterwards. Big difference. It's almost at a no friction state. If I could hold it completely level, it probably would be. Yeah, right there. Okay, so that's good. Nice, really nice. Okay, good. Now I will put some oil on the whole length of the shaft here. I'll put some oil in the front bearing. And I will slide this back into place. Oh, jeez. That's not what I wanted to happen. Okay, and it's probably going to be locked up now. Yes, it is. So what we're going to do is we'll take a screwdriver handle and clean the oil off of the tools. First, I hate when the tools get slimy. And I'll just kind of strike this around a little bit. And that should free it right up. It's not freeing up as much as I would have expected, so. Put another drop of oil in the front here. Okay, I'll turn it on for a moment to let the oil work its way into the bearings. Let's see if it starts running a little better on low now. Yes, it is much better. It looks like it's up to full speed on low now. Excellent. Okay, we're ready to screw the motor back together. After it gets tightened, it may lock up again. In this case, it didn't really, but it would be the same procedure to unlock it. Just kind of bang the shaft around a bit, and the shock from doing so will get the bearings into good alignment again. Here's the blade. I guess we should put the motor on first. Well, this is outrageous. That should have been moved over like half of an inch so it wasn't so tight. It's making a clicking sound. Not sure where or why. Maybe hitting somewhere. needs to be pulled up a little bit. Let's see if there's any stray. There we go. I bet that's it right there. So let's just go ahead and sand that off. Okay, let's try again. Yep, that was it. I don't hear it anymore. Look at that spin down time. That's fantastic. That's just gliding on those bearings now. I'm going to put this... Oh, I forgot one thing. And that may actually be why we had the clicking sound to begin with. I forgot the piece that keeps it high up enough on the shaft. This thing. Reinstall that. There we go. Now it's a substantial distance away from the bottom. I thought it seemed awfully close. Alright, now I'll put this stupid thing back on. Actually, it's not even really holding. I'm not particularly concerned about this because the fan sits like this, so somehow the blade would have to elevate itself to come off, and that's just not likely. So even though this stupid thing's not 100%, actually it's more like 0%. I'm wondering if I should just put a little bit of glue. Yeah, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here instead. While that's warming up, let's get to this top part instead. Now actually I didn't realize this before, but this has the year on it, and the year starts at 1999 and it goes up to 2009. So this actually may be a little bit older than I thought it was. Interestingly enough, this kind of renders the product obsolete in some way, in the sense that they can't ever be set to, you know, what it's supposed to be. But of course, it doesn't really affect the operation of anything. You can certainly use it without that, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But it is interesting nonetheless to see that they didn't really expect you to have this for very long, because they're only recording 10 years on here, which is not very long for something that costs $100. So, let's see here. I believe the pre-filter date will be the one that says the month and day, because that gets changed more regularly. So that should be like that, and then the HEPA change date should probably be the years. So I think it's going to go like that. Some of these have a little bit of water in the hole still. Let's get that out of there. It looks about right. That's working, it's working. Okay, so we'll do that. There's some kind of foreign matter in there which I could not get off with any of the cleaners. Let's see. There we go. Just took a little bit of force. Now the foreign matter is gone. And this is going to sit in here like that. I believe we can screw this down. For this, I'm just going to take a small quantity of hot glue and as evenly as possible just put a bead around the top of the shaft here. I really can't think of any situation where the blade would have any inertia to come off of here, but just in case, I will put this on there, and that should stop it should the situation somehow arise. Since I do intend to use this in the bedroom, I'm going to disconnect this indicator light. And since this is relatively old, I'd like to do this as reversibly as possible. So I'm going to try to uncrimp this thing. And as long as it's not soldered in, I should be able to just remove it. Okay, good, it's not soldered in. So I'm just going to remove that lead. And then the other side is on the mains here. Alright, that was pretty painless, and I can't really think of any reason why I'd ever want to use this again. But if for some reason someday I want to have the indicator light functional again. All I gotta do is reconnect it. Stuff those excess wires back into there, like that. And that'll do it. Make sure all these connections are good, particularly the ones that I redid. They seem to be. So now I will, continue putting it back together. Here's the filter we're going to use for the pre-filter. This is technically for an air conditioner, but it'll work just fine to capture the dust. If you wanted to capture odors, you need to use a carbon filter, but I don't have a single iota of concern about odors, so this filter it is. Here's the new filter, and this is supposed to be exact fit, although it's clearly not. It's smaller, and it's got this in there. Oh, I'm not really liking this. HRF 11. That was the number that this filter, that this thing is supposed to take. So I guess it's okay. Okay, so this is claiming the gasket goes on the top. What in the world? Explain to me how in the world it's not just going to draw air through this. Yeah, I don't... That's outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous. It's going to draw all the air through that foam thing. Ugh. Whatever. Is this even going to fit? Alright, we're going to have to just cut a few pieces, I guess. Yeah, this whole thing was actually going pretty well up until this filter situation here. And still have not gotten myself a working set of scissors. So how exactly I'm going to even cut this thing is a mystery. Try these stupid scissors and see what happens. It's going to take some time, but we'll get through it. Okay, maybe not. Oh, this is terrible. This is very, very terrible. That was painful, but I got the pre-filter cut. This is ridiculous. They may be able to fool non-technical consumers, but they're not fooling me. This is a joke. But whatever. There's no way this is going to work as well as it used to, because most of the air is going to go right through the foam piece, not the filter. And trying to get this to go in place is going to be fiasco and a half. I just don't like to get ripped off, and that's very much a rip-off as far as I'm concerned. Now, if this piece was made out of solid plastic or something, okay, fine, but not the way it is, no. Alright, well, it's in there. I don't think it's going to work that well. At least as far as capturing fine particulates go, but it'll do something, I guess. I'll go grab the other piece, and then we'll be ready to do a test run. Alright, here we go. Turn off this other filter that's in here. Relatively quiet right now. So let's see what this will do. And there goes the quiet. Well, I've made a valiant effort. Okay, that's running much faster now than it did before. Nice quiet speed though. I checked the blade for balance and it wasn't enough to cause a disruption on this high-tech thing. But it definitely does shake a little bit. Not badly, but a little bit. Speed 2. And 3. Let's see here. I'm trying to tell if the suction is stronger. Top. Actually, it seems like the suction is stronger at the bottom, where the filter is. Huh, okay, well, that's actually really pretty convincing evidence. It's really only sucking the air through where the filter is. Maybe that's not as bad as I thought it is. Maybe it's not so bad. Alright, well this is working. It's working quite nicely too. And it cleaned up pretty well. So I'm very happy with that. I'm going to put this in the bedroom, and hopefully this will provide many more years of reliable service.